G'day everyone and welcome back to Starseeds and Patriots of Down Under. For those of you who know me, I don't need any further introduction. But for those of you who are first joining us today and first timers to Starseeds and Patriots of Down Under, my name is Chris and I'm your host. And welcome to joining us on this channel. For those of you who were present yesterday in our audience for my live premiere of my journey going on record with my experiences for 7 years from birth to 7 years of age, I want to just say thank you to everyone for turning out that was able to be there. It was a pleasure. I've really enjoyed the experience of having your feedback so far and just having everyone in the audience yesterday as well. Big thanks also to Phil Cooker for the question that he asked everyone in the live chat yesterday if he could get everyone to do for me. And that was very much a very noble and honourable thing to do. Thank you, Phil Cooker, if you get to watch this later on. I acknowledge what you've done, and I just want to say thank you, mate. And also for keeping it real in there yesterday as well. And appreciating also my testimony that you identified with. Thank you, brother. And I'm glad to have been of some form of help in relation to your experience as well that you have ongoing, that you were talking about. I won't mention, it was private, that you talked about. So thank you, mate. I'm glad that I've been able to help you in some way or form with my testimony. But in saying that, today, the reason why I'm doing this video today is to actually bring to you the unfortunate glitch that we had yesterday. I'm able to fix today just briefly. I'm actually going to play it back for you just in this quick video so that I don't have to play it later in another premiere prior to actually starting that premiere. I'd like to play for everyone today the WhistleBlower Bobs Testimony that was supposed to come through yesterday when we were doing the video, where we had a 6 minute and 51 minute glitch where unfortunately the sound, in my settings, wasn't properly set to in the parameters properly, okay? And during the playback yesterday, during the premiere, after recording, it wasn't present for the audience to listen to. So as I'd like to just quickly note a dear apology sincerely to all of you for putting up with that 6 minutes and 51 seconds of blackout. Also for the small little loss of video feed that we had as well towards the end, where I was mentioning my Truth in Plain Sight series that I was coming up, just when I was doing my final message. We lost video feed because I was talking about some sensitive topic and subject matter that the powers that be unfortunately don't like, and they played with my video for a little bit, just for a second, because I had full bars on everything, even on my router. There was nothing wrong. There was no reason as to why there was some form of interference. That was what I considered to be an outside source coming in and interfering with it with some form of electromagnetic interference. So apologies for that also, everyone, okay? It wasn't intentional in any way, and I do apologise sincerely and have worked out the glitch now so that next time in future this sort of thing won't happen in relation to audio. Can't stop the video thing, unfortunately. That's how they work. These are worms that work behind the scenes. Oops, got a slight change there. I do apologise. But yeah, this is how these worms work. They like to use shadow banning algorithms. They like to cut video feed. They like to cut audio sometimes as well. Where it sounds like the sort of audio that you'd hear in the movie Independence Day, where it's all digital glitched out. This is how they work and operate. And so by doing so, I'll just be a little bit more conservative in relation to some of the things I say, but still make my point known in relation to topic that I'll be talking about. But today I will be quickly playing for you, without further ado, WhistleBlower Bob's Testimony. It does go for 6 minutes and 51 seconds, as I said. You will be able to hear today for yourselves his testimony in relation to his experience that he would like to share that happened to him in 1980 in a hospital in New Zealand when he was just a young fella. Okay, and I would have been about two. It would have been 2 years difference. Sorry, so that would have been me being 7. He would have been 5 at the time when he had this experience. Exact same age. Okay. Funnily enough, it's something that we both discussed. Is that funnily enough, I was 2 years older than him when his experience happened, but we both discovered that we had our experiences at the exact same age, 5. I'm not sure what age James Gilliland was when he had his drowning experience, where he took on water and ingested it and scarred his lungs, where he was given the exact same substance as I was, did the same description of woman, pretty certain it's the same description of woman. Height might differentiate, I dare say. I have noticed within Bob's and my testimonies that he and I have both described 2 different height women. He described his as being between 5'10 and 5'11. Mine, that I experienced, was between 5'8 and 5'9. 2 distinct different types of height in women there, okay, that came to visit us, okay. So I've distinctly noticed this about his and my experiences. So it'd be interesting to note whether or not James has had an experience with a woman that's within that height range of either one of us, 5'10 to 5'11 or 5'8 to 5'9. Okay, that'd be cool to know. Hopefully he might see this one day and might be able to get back to us and let us know. That'd be great. But yeah, without further ado, I'm going to play this for you now so you can hear for yourselves WhistleBlower Bob's testimony. And if you can, afterwards, leave your comments in below. We'd love to hear from you. If you've had an experience like this and would like to share it as well, there's an email that you'll be left in the description below as well that you can contact me on. And if you'd like to talk about it, by all means, we'd love to talk about it with you. And if you'd like to appear on the show maybe and talk about it and share your experience with others, we highly welcome that as well. That's something that we do highly emphasise here, is by sharing. Because by sharing, everyone, we are contributing to the overall greater whole of everyone's experiences. We are validating one another. Okay, it shows that we are not crazy like everyone likes to think, or say we are. Okay, so here we go, everyone. Without further ado, WhistleBlower Bob's testimony, and I do say it is. Oh, sorry about the light. It does say WhistleBlower Bob. The file says WhistleBlower Bob, but the screen says WhistleBlower. Here we go. Enjoy, everyone. G'day, you WhistleBlower Bob, and welcome to, and thank you for your time today. I really appreciate what you've been able to spare for me. I know that your time is short, and I will not keep you, as I know you're very busy today. As the audience has just heard in my testimony of my experience as a child in the hospital in I think it was 1978, I believe it was, the interaction that I too also had with a woman in blue who gave me a substance that somehow miraculously healed me overnight. I'm just wondering, would you be able to recount for us all the experience that you had as a child in the hospital and the specific details surrounding why you were there and who visited you in those early hours of the morning after your operation, and the details surrounding your recovery? Would that be something that you'd be happy to share, able to share with us and recount that experience, Bob?
Yeah, absolutely. Essentially, go back to 1980.
Okay.
In Christchurch, New Zealand. I was a very, very young fella then, and went into hospital and to have tonsils and adenoids taken out.
Right.
And I had some complications for bleeding, and it wasn't until many years later that ended up speaking with Mum that I found out that I had extra bleeding and that sort of thing that was still uncontrolled.
Right.
And the following morning I was actually scheduled to go back into surgery to correct the bleeding. So anyway, that night I remember a lady in blue. She came up to me. Now in New Zealand, she wasn't a nurse. Just the nurses then, they had white uniforms.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, always had to be put up, and then depending on the size of the hat, depended on whether they were a matron or a nurse.
That's right, yep.
And so no, this lady that came up to me, she would have been, I'd say, sort of 5'10", 5'11", thereabouts, blonde hair. Her hair was down, no hat at all, and she wore a sort of a darker blue or navy blue uniform.
Right.
Very, very pleasant, very gentle, and she gave me a little cup with a liquid in it. And I remember the liquid was quite sweet. And yeah, this was late at night. And anyway, I woke up in the morning and suddenly I could eat again. I wasn't irritable. And yeah, all the things that I struggled to do previous, suddenly from that morning, never had an issue.
Wow.
So, and then, yeah, Mum was saying that the doctors were totally amazed because, yeah, here I was getting scheduled to go back in for surgery because I was still, coughing up blood and everything else because the bleeding was not controlled.
Right.
Suddenly, here I am healed and eating. It was, the doctors were very much scratching their heads.
Right, yeah, wow, jeez. So this pretty much happened over just a one-night period, wasn't it, in the time that you were there?
Yeah, thanks. I'd had my surgery in the afternoon, or the previous afternoon. Very irritable, right the way through the night until I saw the lady, and I remember nothing. And then, the following morning, I was up and bouncing around and eating jelly and ice cream as a young lad and thoroughly enjoying myself.
Wow. Yeah, very, very similar account to my own, mate. Very similar account to my own. Same sort of description of the uniform or the outfit. The fact that she was wearing, a dark colour instead of the typical white colours of the nurses or matrons. As you said, also the hats. That's something that I picked up on when I was a kid in the hospital when I was having my appendix and my hernia looked at. I always noticed that the matrons wore a hat. Excuse me. Excuse me. When they used to walk away from me, I used to notice that the hat from behind always used to hang down and it looked like a Superman symbol, the actual symbol of hope from behind. So I always noticed that the matrons and the nurses were always fundamentally different. But the fact that this woman wore a different uniform and was there at 2 a.m. for me, like she was, there late for you or early hours for you and gave you a substance, this completely, it was a very similar experience to myself and James Gilliland's from E.C.E.T.I Ranch. So I'd like to just say thank you for being able to just spare what little time you've been able to, bring to the table today and with your experience, Bob, because this further validates my experiences and I'll be able to play this back for the audience. And I'd just like to say thank you to you, mate. And really, it's been just a pleasure as always, mate. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you would like to add to that experience that you might have left out, or anything else that you'd like to say before I wrap this up, mate?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, I've never had any other encounters since then.
Right.
With the lady in blue.
Right. Myself either.
I've been to the hospital a few times.
Yep.
No, nothing else like that.
No, myself either. I've never had the experience with her since either, or one similar to who you've described, All right, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Bob. And you take it easy for the rest of the day and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'm sure that we'll catch up tomorrow morning, brother. But thank you again and have a great day, mate.
Thank you, buddy. Howdy.
Okay, Well, there you have it, everyone. You've just heard from Whistleblower Bob's own testimony in his own words. His experience that he had in hospital as a child with the woman in a dark uniform, long flowing hair, between 5'10" and 5'11". A substance that was given to him that healed his throat and his excessive bleeding that he was suffering overnight, much like myself and James, as I mentioned in my testimony as well yesterday, healed us overnight. Now, one thing I would love to touch base on is something, yesterday, as you know, I unfortunately jumped ahead 2 bullet points in my experiences because I was in the moment. I was suffering a little bit of nerves as well at the beginning of the show, and in the excitement of actually doing it, I guess, and actually getting there, I overlooked 2 bullet points, and I had to go back to just prior to my actual abduction experience to tell this story that we're experiencing now, the testimony of our hospital experiences. And one thing I left out, unfortunately, because of the excitement of everything going on and losing my place and everything like that, is that I was ruffled, you know what I mean? I'd lost my place in thought train. And I left out a key piece of information that I'd love to share with you now. And I'd love you to leave your comments below as well, just in case any of you might have suffered something very similar, not suffered, but have experienced anything similar. Okay, now I'm going to mention that when I come home from the hospital, okay, I noticed that there was a stiffness in my right hand side because, as I said, my incision and everything that was done, my hernia, was on the right hand side. I have distinct memories of these for 45 years of my life. Okay, and first, nearly being in hospital for nearly 2 days as a child, nearly 2 days, first thing you want to do as you get home is have a bath. So Mum's asked me, would you like to go for a bath, Chris? Yay! Straight in there, mate. Couldn't get me in there fast enough. Mum's run the bath, got it nice and warm. She said, go in, get yourself undressed. And I've noticed what the stiffness is, It's not like I was going to sit there and actually have a look whilst I'm out in public or anything like that. I was a kid, back then I was pretty, as much as I was a mischievous kid and had my difficulties, I wasn't sitting there the sort of kid that would pop it out, have a look in public. But nonetheless, when I got home, I've gotten undressed, I've looked down, and here's this very stiff, blood-stained, hardened gauze pad that's on my right-hand side here, okay? And it's hardened from the blood, and there's tape, surgical tape, that's sticking it to my lower abdominal and right-hand side of my leg on both sides, holding it to my body, to essentially cover the incision where they stitched up. Now the funny thing is that you jump in the bath, okay, as a kid, first thing that happens, this thing gets a little bit malleable, and the stickiness of the tape gives way under the hot water, and it floats off into the water, and being a kid, out the bath it goes. I was told, mind you, to pick it up later. Pick it up, Christopher, put it in the bin, when I got out of the bath. Mum. But I did. And I noticed that looking down in the water, I've seen my stitches, of course. I'm like, a little bit freaked out by this as a kid. It's slightly traumatizing as a child. Well, it is traumatizing, not slightly, it is traumatizing, I will say, to a child to go to hospital to not know what's going to happen to you and to come out and have, well, first of all, you notice that your nut is corrected. Okay, everything's all back to normal, but you've got this incision that was, made on you in hospital. You see stitches there, but the funny thing is that there's no blood trail where this stitching is, like where the incision was made. You think bringing the folds of skin back together to be stitched, that you'd see dried blood on the surface of where the skin is re-knitting together essentially, and blood would be present. You'd assume that would be present, yes. Well, none was present on mine. There was the scar, and the scar looked like it had been there for 3 years at least. And I have no, I can only put it down to, now looking back on it, as a child I had no explanation for it. I was like, wow, I'm Superman. That's what I thought. I healed, and but I let these sorts of things go as you get older, and it wasn't until that I heard James Gilliland's testimony about his lungs and ingesting the water and scarring his lungs, and having been given a substance the same description as mine in his own testimony, that I realised that I had had an experience that was almost identical to James's, as he described. And the biggest thing for me is that I know for 45 years that this scar has resided on my right hand side. As I said, as a man, as we get older, you have to maintain men's health. You have to make sure that you check yourself every now and again, once every 3 months, to make sure that you're okay and you're healthy, and keeping an eye on things, essentially, especially as you grow to 50. Now, a few months ago, I went for a shower, as I do every 3 months. I do for my normal check, and I've noticed my right hand side, where my scar is supposed to be, is no longer there. It's on my left. Can someone please explain this? I have no explanation that I can articulate in any way that I can comprehend right now, or have been able to comprehend in the past since noticing this, how this has happened. I will surmise and ask if, also for your comments in regards to this, leave them in the comments below. But I'm going to surmise here, is this possibly a paradigm shift of some sort? An alternate reality of me, possibly? Timeline shift of some sort? Like a mirror version? Because that's what it basically seems like. Because, this scar is exactly in the mirror opposite area on my abdominal pelvic area, where they incised me. It's exactly mirror opposite. The scar is exactly the same. The recession is the same. It's receded over the 45 years. But the colour, texture, complexion, composition, placement is exactly mirror to where it was on my right. And I cannot understand how I have a memory of it for 45 years, and now all of a sudden it's on my left. So if you can leave your thoughts, comments, even if you've experienced something similar where you've had a scar shift yourself, or something, so it would be absurd to the normal. To us, it kind of is the normal. Okay, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on these sorts of things, because I believe there's something definitely going on here that's in relation to this overall whole that we're all becoming aware of, that we're all connected to, that we're moving forward into as a civilization as well. It's all connected in some way. And so, please leave your thoughts below in that relation, please. I'll be leaving a link in the description below as well for the email for Starseeds and Patriots, if you'd like to reach out and talk to us about some of these things privately. If you've had had experiences that you want to share privately with us, we'd love to hear from you. If you want to go on record and maybe even talk about it on camera and actually come on the show, we welcome that highly as well, because that's what we're all about here, is truth and sharing and contributing to the overall greater whole, so that we all have better validation of each other's experiences and contribute to the disclosure, I guess, so that others can learn from our experiences as well and share theirs. We encourage this, okay? But I'll wrap that up there in relation to that part of our story. Just before I go and wrap this up, just keep on the lookout for this week. I've got chapter 2 coming out of Genesis for a New Spacer Age on Friday of this week. Okay, we go further into it. I'm looking forward to the further chapters where we get into the esoteric type stuff and the actual galactic and intergalactic and galactic and intraterrestrials that are within our Earth. I'm looking forward to those that information as it comes forth in the chapters ahead. We've also got another live coming up this weekend as well, that I'll be going live possibly on Sunday afternoon, so keep your eyes out for that. Go over to the channel and hit the notification bells for that when you see those videos coming up, or not videos, but the notification for the live coming up. Be sure to join us, because it's going to be great. And make sure you hit the notification bell for everything, because that's the only way you're going to keep up to date with all the latest videos. I've also got Truth in Plain Sight series that I'm preparing for at the moment. I'm preparing, to be honest, I'm not sure whether it's a toss-up between VTV series from the 1980s with reptilians and Draco, and posing as humans, and rubber skin, and human harvesting and all that sort of stuff, and organ harvesting, and resource harvesting. I'm not sure tossing up between that video and the movie Cocoon to do a Truth in Plain Sight. Leave your comments below for that as well. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, I'll be leaving a link in the description too for James Gilliland from E.C.E.T.I ranch. For any of you that don't know who James is, I highly suggest please go over and familiarise yourself, and please subscribe to his channel and hit the notification bell as well there. Okay, but in saying that, everyone, thank you again for joining me today with WhistleBlower Bob's testimony and the extras that I unfortunately left out yesterday, and my apologies sincerely to you all once again for the 6-minute and 51-second audio glitch that we had. The bugs are worked out for next time. But in saying that, as Master Yoda always says, we must unlearn what we have learned. As I always say, unlearn and discern. Okay? Everyone, I love you all. Take care until next time, and I'll see you here with me on Friday at 7 a.m. sharp for the live of Genesis for a new space age. Take care until then, everyone.